PGA Championship 2017, live updates, Jordan Spieth's Grand Slam pursuit gets underway. The final major of 2017 is officially underway, and the storylines are endless for the 99th PGA Championship. Despite what you've been reading or hearing, there are more things happening at Quail Hollow than just Jordan Spieth's pursuit of the career Grand Slam, although that is certainly the biggest story of the week. Spieth would become the youngest to ever accomplish the feat by 6 months, topping Tiger Woods. We'll try to contextualize what the feat means as the week goes on, and if it starts to look like it's a real possibility. Spieth is the biggest storyline, but there are many other stories to cover. Among them, the PGA Championship moving to May starting in 2019 at Bethpage Black. That will set off a domino effect for the rest of the schedule, but golf officials hope this positions golf's biggest events in a position that doesn't compete with football. Smart moves. And in terms of this week, Quail Hollow makes its debut, though PGA of America President Pete Bevacqua essentially said there was a 100% chance the Charlotte side would host another PGA in his presser on Wednesday. The venue is soggy right now, but it's going to still play tough, especially the new first hole. Anyway, keep it right here for the latest news, scores, tweets and highlights from Quail Hollow. 10:03 a.m., Paul Casey takes the solo lead at the PGA Championship thanks to 3 birdies on his first 5 holes, all on par for us. He's at 3 under and leads by 1 over Matsuyama, Wood, Herman, and Gary Woodland, who just made his second birdie of the day at the 249-yard, par 3 6th. At the short par 4 14th, Spieth and Koepka each drove the green and were left with putts of over 110 feet for eagle. They both walked away with par, as did Sergio. 9:40 a.m., just like that we have some fireworks. It's a 4-way tie atop the leaderboard at 2 under between Paul Casey, Chris Wood, Hideki Matsuyama, and Jim Herman. What a group. The marquee group is through 4 holes now, and Koepka and Sergio leading the way at 1 under after making birdie at the par 3 13th. Spieth's made all pars and is even. 9:21 a.m., at the 12th, Spieth takes a ridiculous line on his long birdie putt, aiming about 15 or 20 feet right of the cup. Of course, it was right on line but came up just short. He'll clean up his par to stay even through 3 holes. Koepka and Sergio also tap in their par putts and sit at even as well. 9:04 a.m., Koepka's birdie just slides by and he taps in for par. Sergio gives a shot right back with a bogey, while Spieth makes an 8-footer to save par. Chris Wood is now alone at the top. He's at 2 under through 3 holes. 9 a.m., Koepka hits the longest drive of the day so far at the 11th, then pures his approach to within 10 feet for birdie. Spieth and Garcia both miss the green with their second shots. Meanwhile, Scotland's Russell Knox and England's Chris Wood each get off to hot starts, both making birdie on their first 2 holes. They are now in a 2-way tie for the lead after Matsuyama bogeyed the par 4 12th, his third. 8:45 a.m., Spieth's 20-foot birdie attempt just slides by on his opening hole, the par 5 10th, and he settles for par. Playing partner Brooks Koepka also makes par, but Sergio Garcia makes birdie to get his 19th PGA Championship off to a great start. It seems this marquee group has a pretty famous athlete following them inside the ropes as well. 8:31 a.m., Jordan Spieth begins his pursuit of history with a perfect tee shot on the par 5 10th hole. Spieth is playing alongside Masters champ Sergio Garcia, who yanked his drive left, and US Open winner Brooks Koepka, who bombed it past Spieth by about 20 yards. 8:23 a.m., Hideki Matsuyama, fresh off a 5-shot win at the WGC Bridgestone Invitational, birdies his first 2 holes. Shocking news, we know. The world number 3 is a popular pick to win major number 1 this week. If he keeps making putts from 52 feet like he did on his first hole, the field at Quail Hollow is in trouble. 8:19 a.m. If you're wondering about the weather, the sun is actually out in Charlotte on Thursday morning. And despite all the doom and gloom forecasts, it looks like we're in for a great day of golf. 8:14 a.m. We're not sure this is a sign of things to come for Jordan Spieth. But it's pretty cool, as Spieth walked off the short game area. Behold his last chip shot. Of course he did. He hasn't teed off yet, and Spieth's doing Spieth things. 8:05 a.m. We are 20 minutes from the group of 2017 major winners, Jordan Spieth, Sergio Garcia and Brooks Koepka, teeing off Quail Hollow's 10th hole. They will be followed by the 8:35 tee time of world number 1 Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, and Henrik Stenson. Unfortunately, TV coverage on TNT doesn't start until 1 p.m., but these two marquee groups will be live-streamed on the PGA Championship app. Hope you've been conserving your data on your phone this month. 7:40 a.m. Here's a look at the pin positions for
Jordan Spieth, feeling no pressure in another pursuit of history. Jordan Spieth knows all about pressure. He also knows about the history that awaits him at the PGA Championship. Surprisingly, he doesn't think the two are connected. Spieth understands what is at stake in the final major championship of the year. A victory would make the 24-year-old Texan only the 6th player and the youngest by about 6 months over Tiger Woods to capture the career Grand Slam. And he has never felt more at ease. Maybe that will change when Spieth gets to Quail Hollow Club for the 99th edition of the PGA Championship, and the conversation shifts from his Open Championship victory and that amazing finish at Royal Birkdale to the prospect of owning all 4 trophies from golf's biggest events. There's going to be a bunch of build-up and hype around it, and it's going to be said a lot, Spieth said. But it's almost like if we don't win, we're freewheeling. I'm going to play to win. And if it doesn't go well, then so what? Woods was the most recent addition to golf's most elite group when he won the US Open and Open Championship in a span of 35 days in 2000. It took 13 years before anyone else even had the chance, and now there are 3 candidates. Phil Mickelson picked up the 3rd leg of a career Grand Slam at the 2013 Open, and Rory McIlroy joined him by winning the Claret Jug a year later. In both cases, they had to wait until the following year for their opportunity to get the last one, Mickelson at the US Open, McIlroy at the Masters. Spieth only has to wait 3 weeks, which is one reason he doesn't feel any anxiety. For him, the pressure was getting to this point. It was having a 3-shot lead going into the final round of the Open, knowing that everyone was watching to see if he would have a repeat of the 2016 Masters, when he crumbled in a 3-hole stretch on the back 9. I had to get over some added pressure and fear, which shouldn't ever happen, fear of what I was going to have to answer and how long I would have to answer, he said. It's annoying more than anything. What's asked and what's published is ultimately what the public ends up thinking. And it's then your reputation to an extent. The only reputation I should care about is, first off, what I think of myself. Secondly, what our team thinks. Third, the other guys, my peers. After that, you shouldn't care. But that's something you have to work on, he said. And that's a crash course out here at the speed we've been going through things. Spieth surely could draw on his experience from 2 years ago, when he won the Masters and US Open at age 21 and headed to St. Andrews to pursue the calendar Grand Slam. He missed a playoff by 1 shot in the Open. In both situations, he already had won a major that year. The same can't be said for McIlroy and Dustin Johnson. Johnson never imagined he would come to the final major without even being in contention for one this year. Before the Masters, he was coming off his 3rd straight victory. Then he slipped down the stairs and wrenched his back, sidelining him on the eve of the Masters. He missed the cut at the US Open. He fell behind early at the Open. McIlroy hasn't won all year, and he split with his caddy after the Open. McIlroy understands the value of major championships. In a year without a victory, how would he measure his season if he were to win the PGA Championship? Awesome, he said. Great year. McIlroy has reason to be excited about this PGA Championship in Charlotte, North Carolina. He won his first PGA Tour event at Quail Hollow in 2010. He won again 2 years ago by 7 shots. There are courses that you're going to go to that you've played well at before, and it's not going to be too much different just because it's a different tournament, McIlroy said. It's the same golf course, same shots you need to hit. It's mostly the same course. Quail Hollow returned to the PGA Tour schedule in 2003, though it went through some dramatic changes in recent years. The club combined the opening 2 holes, a par 4 and a par 3, into a 524-yard first hole that plays as stout as any par 4 in a major. It turned a par 5 into 2 holes, a par 3 and an uphill par 4. The sum of the parts adds to 7,600 yards and a par 71. The PGA Championship has the strongest field of all the majors, with 98 out of the top 100 in the world ranking. Martin Kaymer and Scott Piercy are injured. For now, it's mostly about one player and his bid for the career Grand Slam. Of the 5 players with the career Grand Slam, Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Ben Hogan and Gene Sarazen, no one ever won the final leg at the PGA Championship. The only 2 players lacking the PGA were Tom Watson and Arnold Palmer. They spent the better part of 2 decades chasing it. I believe I'll have plenty of chances, but it doesn't have to be this year, Spieth said. If it's this year and it happens, that's great. That's another lifelong goal that we've then achieved. Getting 3 legs of it is much harder than getting the last leg, although I've never tried to get the last leg, so it's easy for me to say.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and comment, or something, or anything. Bye guys, see you next time.